All right, another new product coming. They gave us one of their presentation things on hydraulics. And it was pretty good, wasn't it, Tony? They did a good job. They tried to explain hydraulics and some of the uses and so forth. But finally, AMSOIL recognizes something that all of us out here in the field have been telling them. You cannot sell the high-cost synthetic hydraulic oils to mobile equipment that uses hydraulics. It's great for a factory where you've got a plastic extrusion plant that you need high-temperature hydraulic fluid in there to use. It works great, okay? But the guys always tell us out in the fleets of vehicles, you know, whether it's boom trucks or front-end loaders or whatever, man, I can't afford to break a hose and waste $1,000 of hydraulic fluid on the ground. I can't afford stuff like that, and this is the real world. Hoses break. So I just, you know, you're just asking for an awful lot of money on something, and how much better performance is that going to give me than the lower cost hydraulic fluid that I'm using, with the danger that if I break the hose, I lose all this valuable product? Well, they have a good point. So AMSOIL is going to bring out a lower cost hydraulic oil. Now, would you like my guess on what it is? It's what they could have bought a long time ago. It comes from Petro-Canada, who I've competed with it directly. It's made from, we have to talk about a base stock for a second, God forbid, but it's made from very high quality Group 3 synthetic base. It's used in Canada. If you compare it, the hydraulic fluid, to the PAO, you can't hardly tell the difference except for very high temperature. Well, we're talking about out here in a wheeled loader where I need a good grade hydraulic oil. I'm not worried about running it through some 1,000-degree extrusion machine for making plastic. So they're going to give us a product we might be able to sell. See, I sent AMSOIL an email, several years back, and said, could you provide us with a hydraulic oil that I might be able to sell? I got a sort of a curt reply, you know. But my point was, man, I get these calls, the guy wants hydraulic oil, we get to talking about it, I got everything going, I give him the price, and there's total silence. I think the guy passed out on the other end, you know. So we have to revive him before he can talk to you. Because hydraulic oils in the petroleum market are not very expensive, okay? But with a full PAO type synthetic base stock, they're pretty doggone expensive. So moving to a high quality Group 3 base stock hydraulic oil that can be sold for a much more reasonable price, I believe we'll be able to compete for some of this market. Because one thing, it will last longer, it's actually better anti-wear characteristics, and it will actually extend the life of most of the hoses that they keep losing, because the petroleum oils that they use over a period of time, those hoses start to get hard and then they crack. Well, because in these hydraulic oils, if you put the right additives in them and the right base stock, which might include a little bit of ester in it, it'll actually penetrate that liner on the inside of the hose and keep it supple. Okay, so it has some advantages to it. We'll see when it comes out. This product is coming to a dealer soon. Okay, it's coming. But again, another product. Now there's another one, new product also, which is 500,000 mile transmission fluid. Remember, we have FGR and FGO, which is 500,000 mile gear lube for basically differentials and powertrains. Well, they're going to come out with a transmission fluid. This is a manual transmission fluid designed specifically for heavy duty trucks. It'll be rated as a 500,000 mile synthetic manual transmission gear lube. Okay, so just another product to try to match up for us for trucks, because AMSOIL believes that part of our future is in commercial accounts with trucking. So we should be trying to do more in that market. Okay, so lower cost hydraulic fluid, 500,000 mile transmission fluid, OE, ATF. I don't want to forget this. Anybody ever ask in our regular, now we call Signature Series oil, for a 5W20? Well, you should be, because everybody says I need a 5W20 for my Honda or 5W20 for this. We always say, well, use the 0W20, right? Don't we? We sell the 0W20 because that's our premium oil. We won't have to do that in the near future because they're going to have a 5W20 Signature Series oil.
Well, green cat.
So you see what AMSOIL's doing. This is not hard to figure out. They're trying to give us a really complete OE line, a complete XL line, and a complete Signature Series line, so that if the customer wants this, if he says 520, you don't have to argue. He says, well, I can't use 0W20. Well, we don't have to spend 10 minutes trying to explain that 0W20 will be fine in the place of 5W20. Because his manual said 5W20, that's what he wants. We have a 5W20, we sell it to him. It's a quicker, easier thing to meet the customer's need without having to get into what viscosity is to begin with, because that might just be way beyond what anybody wants to know.
Is there a 0W20 XL, or is that because
there will be a 0W20 XL and a 0W20 OE both?
Right, you said the OE earlier.
Yeah, and I didn't mention XL. Yeah, 0W20 XL, 0W20 Signature Series, and 0W20 OE, and then a 5W20 in all three, a 5W30 in all three, a 10W30. The one that's different is there's a 0W30 in the Signature Series, and there is not going to be a 0W30 in the XL or in the other. So if you want a 0W30, you go to the Signature Series for that. Okay? So, you know, really, if you think about it, I don't know what more we could ask out of this company to provide us with tiers of oil. Guy doesn't want to go long drains. He wants to just do what his manufacturer says. We got an OE oil for it. If he's a little bit adventurous, but doesn't want to go too far, we have an XL oil for it. If he's really familiar with these products and comfortable finally, he'll say, well, what about that Signature Series? Because it's still the best deal. It costs the most. Let me explain that, say that different. It has the highest price, but it costs the least of all the oils. Because the price up front, $10, but if you run it for a year, 15,000 miles minimum, it's cheaper, less expensive, less costly than the other two oils. So, you know, that's a simple thing.
Best value.
Best value, absolutely. We have good, better, and best, right? And you could say we have good, better, and best value as well as performance, because they actually are, the value is better the further up the line you go, because you can go further on the oil.